Hello and welcome to another Win Daily Show. My name is Michael Raziel, and I have my man Sia Najad here. There is no more Jason, so nobody has to worry. Sia, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, man. I want to know how the bachelor party was. Clearly, you took an ill-fated decision, or you lost a
Hey,
bet. Like what happened here with the mustache?
No, I'm the biggest fan of my mustache. I'm the biggest fan of my mustache. I love
Most
it.
most people with mustaches are the biggest fan of their
Yes,
mustache.
I would have one every single day of my life if I could. That whole, as you said, I was at the bachelor party, so it's that whole marriage thing that kind of gets in the way is what I'm finding out. But no, I would keep it. I rock it. My confidence level is through the roof when I have this thing on. There's sincerely, man, there's nothing else like it. So hopefully, I don't know, we figure it out one of these days and I can find a way to keep it forever. But until then, I get special occasions. I get to take it out and hopefully everybody else likes it as much as I do.
So Michael, we got a bunch of sports to talk about. I think we're
Yep.
going to lead maybe with PGA, get into some NFL, some really good NFL stuff, and then we're going to
Mhm.
go into MLB. But just tell me real quick, how was it? Can you just tell everybody, because when people say bachelor party, they assume like
Yes.
debauchery and strip clubs and all this stuff. Can you just set up the scene for what you did, because it was
So we
obviously
went,
different.
yeah, it was very different. We went to a house in the mountains, essentially. I wouldn't even call them mountains. I'd really just call them hills, like bigger hills, like slightly bigger hills. We went to a house. We got a lot of beer. I will say that. We got a lot of grilled meats and we had a bunch of yard games. So, you do that for a few days in a row, things start to get a little weird, let's be honest. But other than that, it was an absolutely wonderful time. I appreciate all my friends and I missed you. I will not lie. It's, Thursday night around like 8:30, I got this weird antsy feeling. I was like, what am I not doing right now? And I looked down at my clock, which I probably didn't do most of the day. And I realized I miss Sia. And I'm back here now. And I feel bad. I left you with Jason. I know he messed everything up, but we'll get to that some other time, I guess.
Jason wasn't bad actually, but he's no Michael Raziel, and so we're happy to have you back.
Look at this mustache. Come on. Everyone was making fun of, or everyone liked Nick's mustache. This one's a little bit better, but
For the record, I am just gonna skip over the fact that you said after a day or two things got a little weird. Like you just kind of yada yada yada, like
yeah,
something that might have been like interesting,
no.
maybe controversial or like weird. I don't know what that
So
was.
it is Tuesday, so we're getting ready to talk some sports. Baseball's coming back, so we're very excited to talk about that. We want to remind everybody of some of our favorite over-unders for season totals. A couple of those teams that we like. Hint, they're all in that central region. Most of them are at least. But first, we got to start with PGA. We have the 3M Open. I love all these names. These make me laugh every single time. Which company sponsors what? But we got the 3M Open. We have if I'm not mistaken, a watered down field was, I think, the word you used in your article, which, by the way, everything's not free on Win Daily Sports anymore, guys. We're sorry.
Huh.
Sports are back. Yeah, we gave everyone everything for so long, and we finally had to put that paywall up a little bit. But you know what you can do, Sia?
Yes, you can sign up, and what is it still 23 cents to sign up for the first month?
23 cents for the first month. So there are still free
Wow.
articles. We're going to have a free article every single day. So don't worry. We're still going to get you some content. But Sia right now, he's so, well, damn good looking, but so damn good that 23 cents, you get all of Sia's articles. You get all of Brian's articles. We're very excited to have picks and pivots on our team. We got the Discord. You got the projection model. So it's a lot more, not just Sia's articles. Granted, I know you would pay $20 for Sia's articles, but there's a lot of other stuff that come with it. And we're very excited to get back into sports and start providing all that content still as well. But anyway, without further ado, let's talk about the 3M Open or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't mean, you're right. Some of these names can get really like the waste
Yeah.
management was always like kind
Well,
of a funny one.
so sorry, diversion. I went to that one out in Arizona once.
That's awesome.
You want to talk about a bachelor party, dude? That place was bananas. But that's, again, I don't want to talk too much about it, but maybe you and I can talk off screen. How's that sound?
If you're ever going to go to a golf tournament that's not like your standard golf tournament, that's the one to go to. I mean, my
Oh my
friends go out there every year. They get like tickets to like the grandstands. I believe it's on 17,
uh,
and
is it 17? Whatever.
whatever it is, and it's a fun time
It's a
apparently.
blast. Had an absolute blast. But okay, now let's actually talk about the 3M Open.
So yeah, watered down field, right? So it's not a particularly challenging course. There is water in a lot of places, but on most of the holes, water really isn't a threat. So what was
But
that?
tis.
I didn't even get my play on words. What did I do?
Oh, I thought you meant it was a watered down field, as if like the talent
I'm
was
slow
watered down.
today.
Oh, I'm
No,
slow with you
no.
today. The talent
Yeah.
was watered down, but then there's water all over. Okay, we're rocking it. 5 minutes in, man. I'm feeling this one. This is gonna be fun.
Clicking on all cylinders, clearly.
Clicking.
I'm just gonna use analogies for the rest of the show. Watered
Love it.
down. So anyway, so what we have is like a few guys at the top, and then there's a huge gap from like your top echelon guys. A lot of these guys are taking this week off to prepare for a couple tournaments down the way, including a major in a couple weeks. So you got Brooks Koepka, you got Dustin Johnson, Tony Finau, if you want to call him an elite name, which he's not really, but he is in this tournament, and Tommy Fleetwood, Paul Casey. They round out the 10,000 and above range. So the tricky thing with this one, though, is because you only have so many household names. So when you're building your quote player pool, you're going to find that your player pool is a little bit bigger this week than, or just inevitably, you're going to want to include so many more guys because you're just so unsure about those guys in the 7 and the 8K and even the 9K range. So kind of keep that in mind. You are going to have to narrow it down a little bit unless you're really diversifying and you're making 150 lineups and this kind of thing. But at a certain point, if you're just entering like 10 lineups, you're really going to have to start narrowing it down. And I'm hoping this helps in doing that. I've already done an article. I know Patrick has published an article. We either have another one coming out tonight, but we definitely have at least 2 more coming out tomorrow with player picks. So you can kind of take our work and see what we have overlapping, kind of like understand our rationale. And then once you do that, we all go into Discord. Every single golf writer's in Discord all day Wednesday. Well, some of us are in there all day, some of us aren't, but Wednesday night for sure, we're all in there and we're all kind of breaking down to the extent the writers have differences. We kind of hash them out and we kind of come out with like a core group of players. So please keep that in mind when you sign up for 23 cents. If you haven't already, yes, it really truly is 23 cents, by the way. And you get into Discord and you get to talk to all of us. And some of the subscribers have a lot of good knowledge too. So let's start though with that 10K and above range. And I'll do this a little quicker than I normally do. I don't really know that I'm in love with anybody, but I do know that DJ is the class of this field. And I do know that DJ on a good day is better than all of these golfers, especially because Brooks Koepka still has some sort of lingering knee issue that we're just not really sure about. So I really like Tommy Fleetwood as well, but he hasn't really been playing. So that's kind of an issue there. People are going to take a chance on all these guys. And honestly, DJ's price tag being 11.5, I thought people were going to kind of stay away from him because it's such a heavy price tag. DJ doesn't impress most people as from an elite, a top tier standpoint. And by the way, he shot back-to-back 80s at the Memorial last week when you were having your bachelor party. Basically, DJ may as well have been where you were because he wasn't really on the golf course, at least not upstairs. But what do we know about DJ? Did you like that, by the way?
I did. I was going to ask if Paulina could have come.
That's a good question. We might have to clear that with Wayne. I don't know.
Well,
so next time. But the thing is, like with DJ, and this is why we won on him 80-1 a few weeks ago at the Traveler. It's because he can kind of turn it on and off. Like he's so even keel. And honestly, when he had a bad day one at the Memorial, it kind of seemed like a situation where he was just going to mail it in the rest of the way because that's so classic DJ. So I actually like him this week in that elite range. DJ's probably my favorite guy. Unfortunately, his ownership percentage is starting to creep up. I thought it would be low. I thought because of the price tag and all the other stuff I mentioned, that would be like 13, 14%. I'm wrong. It started out at around 15, 16%, and it's going up to 20%. So I think what people are doing is they're grabbing DJ first, and then they're kind of building the rest of their lineup. I'll tell you, Brooks Koepka is only 9% right now, which is, if you wanted to take a chance on Brooks, I guess this would be the time to do it. I mean, you got to remember this is a watered down field. So if Brooks gets hot, it's possible. I'm off Tony Finau. Great week last week. I'm just off him. I'm usually off him, so I'll stay consistent there. I do like Fleetwood, and one thing I want to point out with Fleetwood, his ownership percentage is even higher than DJ's. It's one of the highest in that top range, him and Casey. But Fleetwood is in a charity match, which will air on Golf Channel 3 to 5 on Wednesday, so before the tournament starts. So normally I wouldn't really care about that. He's playing the back nine. It's scramble format. For a guy that like we don't know what his form is, it actually will be helpful to watch that. Not just watch him play, but honestly, like, he might have an interview. We might hear the announcers like talk about what he's actually been doing, stuff that we might not be able to find on the internet. So you can kind of plan, to watch that and see how you feel about it. I know I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'll have my impressions as to whether or not I'll be maybe a little fewer shares or a little, more shares. So that's kind of a cool thing that, there's only 4 players playing in that charity match. He happens to be one of them. So check it out, or at least, get in Discord, ask us how it went, because I'm going to be on Fleetwood, but something might change my mind that day, and you will kind of see. So that's the 10K range. Just in summary, I like DJ more than anybody, and I'm probably going to be on Fleetwood next. I don't really have a huge argument against any of the other guys, but I'm not grabbing a lot of guys in this range, so it's just probably going to be them too.
And so with Tommy Fleetwood, I love that insight that, hey, you come here, you find out he's going to do a little charity match. He's only playing 9 holes, but as you said, like, it's something you can kind of see him a little bit, because we haven't seen him in a while. When was the last time this guy was in a tournament?
It was before the restart. I'd have to look. I think it was maybe the Arnold Palmer Invitational or the Sony, but we haven't seen him, not even on the Euro Tour. We haven't seen him in many months play golf. So
yeah, right. Like, that's a long time.
Him, and there's a few guys that just haven't played. Adam Scott is another, top player that hasn't played. Fleetwood is at least back this week. I assume Adam Scott's coming back for the major. I don't know that for a fact, but the thing about Fleetwood, he's a great ball striker. And again, when you have a watered down field, and this is a ball striking course, like most are, of course, but his approach game is fantastic. And he just sets up this course just really sets up well for him. So if he's on his game, he's probably going to be there in the top 5 on Sunday, because he only has a limited number of players to contend with. From an elite, player standpoint. So
yeah, it's when you said his name, I was like, man, I haven't heard that name in forever. And we've been doing this. I don't know, when did golf start back up again? Like April. So it's been a long time, it feels like. But hey, he's back, and if you think it's worthy to grab a little bit of him, shoot, can't hurt to grab a little bit of him, right?
So we're looking in the comment section, and this is another reason I like Fleetwood, of course. So Austin has come in and told you he loves the mustache. Hey, listen, it might be sarcasm, it might not be. Like, who's to say?
Right.
You can't tell. Like the typeface doesn't have like italics or something. So maybe it's not sarcasm. But they also said it's a stellar hair day, and we all know that I have amazing hair, but Tommy Fleetwood has even better hair. So I have to support my hair brethren, and Tommy Fleetwood is one of those men.
Have you ever said hair brethren before in like a sentence?
First time, long time, my friend.
All
First
right.
time, long time.
Look at you, man. Look at you.
I gotta be honest. It felt pretty good to say that. So
it sounded off the tip of your tongue. It sounded really good, man. That's fantastic. And that was the 10K range you said, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Let's hop down. Let's go to those 9s, because as you said, this is gonna be a weird field. So I'm curious if we're doing a couple of those top dudes and we're going down to the barrel, or I'm curious how you're gonna build this. This is always fun for me.
This is interesting because this 9K range is going to be, they're not household names, but they're going to be super chalky because they're the right price considering their talent level versus the people in the 8 and the 7K range. So, this is kind of a watch out. Like, it's going to be very easy to be contrarian here, but it's not going to be easy to be contrarian at this level. What I mean by that is you're going to be able to get contrarian in your 7 and your 6K level, but here is where you're scooping up all your chalk in a cash game. Like, this is like, not necessarily where to start, but you want to grab a guy or two from this range for sure. Bubba Watson is the only guy that's probably not going to be chalky. But I got to say, Isaiah was talking about this with our golf group earlier today, and I think Steven agreed as well. He's been ball striking it better than really he has in kind of a couple of years. So he's like last week, he was good. He was really good ball striking, but he was bad with his putter and around the green. So this guy has like plenty of potential. I'm never on Bubba, but if you wanted to make a contrarian play from this range, Bubba would actually be the guy. He's tracking at like 11, 12%. So that's really not bad considering the next few guys I'm going to talk about are all over 15%, essentially. Matthew Wolff is one of those guys. I'm not on him. Lucas Glover's 22%. He's just been kind of like rock solid. He was good last week at the Memorial. He's been top 25, I believe, his last 5 tournaments. I don't know. Last week, I don't think he finished top 25, but the 4 tournaments before that, he was top 25. Great ball striker. He fits all the thing about him is I don't think his win equity is that great. He usually fades on Saturdays and Sundays. He's still good, but he's not great. And so I'm not really on Lucas Glover. I understand why people would, but considering he's chalk and considering there's other guys in this range I like, I'm probably off Glover. I'll go quickly through the rest of the 9K range. I like Russell Henley. He's not a household name by any means.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any idea who that guy is.
Exactly. So off the tee, he's great. Approach, he's great. He was 7th at Workday. So that was just 2 weeks ago. He was 7th. That was a pretty decent field. 32nd at the Travelers. Like, he's definitely like peaking at the right time. Great ball striker. There's really nothing not to like about him other than the fact that he's not a household name. He's around the 15% ownership range, which isn't too bad. Whatever. It's more than you think, but that's not bad. Harris English is the next guy. Like, he's going to be chalky, probably around 20%. 4 of the last 5 tournaments, he's finished in the top 20. Excellent ball striker. There's really nothing bad to say about Harris English. He did burn some people with a missed cut. I think right when the
Mhm.
restart happened, and he burned me too, by the way. But this is a guy I'm going to be on. A lot of people are on Eric Van Rooyen. I'm not going to be one of them. He has ties to Minnesota and probably ties to this course. He's super chalk at 23%. I think people are just going with the narrative of he knows this place, he knows this course,
Mhm.
he's from here, he's going to want to do well. I like narratives, but that's not a road I'm willing to travel down. So if 23% are on Eric Van Rooyen, I am firmly off him 100%. I'm not
Yeah.
down with that. By the way, he's 8,800, so I just accidentally dipped into the 8,800 range, but that's the 9K range.
Mhm. I love it. I don't really know who any of those guys are. I know we've talked about Harris English before. I know we've talked about Matt Wolf. Whoever that last guy was, I honestly don't think you've ever said his name to me. And neither has my
Well,
grandpa. So that means I've probably never heard the guy's name.
he goes by EVR, and so if I've ever referred to him, much like I referred to Harold Varner III as HV3, hashtag RG3, hashtag what is that, like 1,000 shows in a row? I love it.
Yeah,
Anyway, the point
something
is he
like
goes by
that.
EVR. You
I
might have
knew
heard
that
him
was
like.
coming. God damn it, I knew that was coming. Once you went to an acronyms, oh man, I knew that was coming. You got me, Sia. I thought it was a clever way. It wasn't even in football, so I appreciate that. I
Right.
appreciate when it's a little bit more fun like this. But yeah,
Mr.
whoever.
Griffin, I hope you're listening.
Yes, come on the podcast. That's damn. You got me all flustered now. I don't know what to do. Anyway, whatever. Go on to the next range. I don't even care
So
anymore.
we're in the 8K range. I've already talked about EVR. And the next guy up is a guy that we've heard a lot about because I hit an outright here. This is one of the outrights I hit in back-to-back weeks just a couple weeks ago. So, I had that DJ 80-1. 4 days later, I'm picking a first-round leader. It's Doc Redman at 50-1, and bang. So I'll be on Doc Redman as a first-round leader again. I believe it's 60-1 this week, which is pretty cool that it's worse odds than it was the first time. But anyway, listen, the guy's metrics are amazing. He's going to be super chalk as well. He's going to be like 25%. So I'm not going to be overweight on him. I'm going to have some shares of him, but not a ton. But listen, he's good off the tee. He's great on approach. Last week he was bad, but he was bad with his putter. It was hard to putt last week. He was bad around the greens. The rough was high. Like there was a lot of reasons why you would be bad with your short game last week. And that's what Doc Redman was. He's not going to have to worry about that here. So in a cash game, Doc Redman is like a super lock as far as I'm concerned. He has a legitimate opportunity. When I talk about win equity and upside, I'll take Doc Redman over Lucas Glover. Lucas Glover, maybe, you could argue he's the better golfer, but I just think he wilts late, and I feel like Doc Redman is more on the rise, and Glover's just more on an even playing field. So that's 8,700. I'm going to skip over Henrik Norlander. He's been hot. I'm not on him this week. Sam Burns is an interesting play. He's kind of chalky too. This is a course that's going to have 3 par 5s that are like kind of gettable that you can get to the green in two. Sam Burns is one of those guys, much like DJ. I'm trying to think of other guys off the top of my head that can. Luke List is another one of those guys that can maybe get there in two. Burns is one of those guys. So if you're looking for like eagle opportunity, Burns is your guy, and I would have no problem with anybody that wanted to be on Burns. Again, not a household name. List is the next guy down there. He's been hot. I'm not on him. Brandon Todd is on here, but he withdrew. So there's really nobody else in the 8K range I like other than potentially Max Homa, who has missed 1,000 cuts in a row.
Yeah,
and
he has, hasn't he?
And everybody's been on him. But you remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you I wasn't on him and that the industry was sort of catching up. And that was right when I was going to be exiting. So it's worked out for me. But I got to say, in this tournament with this field, knowing that he's very cognizant of the fact that he's missing these cuts because he sort of said that on Twitter. So if he was going to make a cut, it would be here. But are you going to pay $8,000 for a guy just to make the cut in this field? I don't know. I'm not really sure the upside is still there like it was very early in the year. So I'll have a few shares of him, but not too impressed. That ends the 8K range.
And you love Max Homa. That's just
crazy.
I do. And I know
do.
You said a couple weeks ago you were off of him, and you gave your reasons. And hey, look at that. Sia was right about golf again, guys. But it's just one of those things that it is crazy that he's been pretty bad for the last few weeks at least. So hopefully he can figure it out. And you're right. I mean, if there's a cut to make. Who are some of those 9K guys again? Like, who the hell are we playing in this field if this dude can't make it now? I don't know, man.
That's true.
Bad. That's bad. But so yeah, it doesn't sound like there's too much in the 8K range either. I'm really confused on. Are we just going Dustin Johnson and hoping he wins this whole thing at this point? Like, I want to hear the rest, but it's a weird field, man.
Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, there's plenty in the 8K range, but it just depends on which range you want to fade. You can fade that top range where DJ and Kepgar, you can fade that 9K range, or you can fade this 8K range. I think you're probably better off taking like a DJ or a Paul Casey or somebody like that, or Tommy Fleetwood, and then maybe just like skipping over the 9K range and grabbing a couple guys like Doc Redman, for example, or if
Mhm,
you like Lucas Glover, and
mhm,
then you'll have some room left if you grab a couple of those guys to get like an 8,000 guy and a couple 7,000 guys, which would be a pretty good lineup. So,
mhm.
there's no range here where you're like, oh, I have to have that guy.
Yeah.
That's just not a thing. So, look where the ownership leverage might be a little bit, and then just kind of hope and pray that your 7K guys, or maybe if you dip down to the 6K range guys, actually make the cut, which, there's plenty of guys that can and will. So if you hit those, you're going to be good. I wouldn't worry so much about the top range. I think a lot of
Mhm.
those guys are safe to make the cut.
Okay. Okay, and
It's
as
just
you said,
about win
we're not.
equity at that point.
Yeah, we don't like, obviously, we need to make the cut. The only way you can get in the top 5, top 10 is if you make the cut, but that's not where we're not gonna pay $8,000 for Max Homa to barely make the cut in this, such a watered down field. Yeah? Remember? Remember that joke
That's
from 20
good.
minutes ago? That
That's
was a good
good.
joke.
It's
That was a good joke.
fantastic.
It's just the mustache, I'll be honest. So that's the 8K range. I'm really excited to get to the 6K range. So let's do the 7K range because I think we might have another secret weapon in our back
Yeah, but
pocket this week.
I don't advertise, I don't promote the secret weapon on
We
the
gotta
live stream.
talk about it a
All
little
right, that's
bit. Like,
fair.
we're not gonna say who it is. They have to, hop into the Discord, which is still free for 3 days, right? Like, it's 23 cents to get everything on the site, but you can hop in the Discord for 3 free for 3 days still and see Sia's secret weapon. But we'll
There
we'll
you
we'll
go.
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll get to it,
There
man.
you
We
go.
got
I like that. All right. So listen, we are in the 7K range right now. Not too impressed with the top of that range. I will say that Sepp Straka has been really good lately. He's definitely not a household name, but he's been
Mhm,
firing lately. Jonathan Vegas is at the top of this range. I actually like him as a first round leader, but I don't like him to keep it up for 4 days. So I won't have him in my player pool, but I'm unloading on a first round leader bet with him. He's one of like 4 guys I have in my first round leader bets that I'll
mhm.
discuss at the very end of
Yep.
this. The rest of the 7K range, I might take a flyer on Cabrera Bello. I'm kind of big on him. I mentioned him a
Mhm,
lot. He's among players that just aren't very good. He's been very bad ball striking, but this guy has been elite in the past. And if you're going to take a flyer on somebody in this 7K range, I mean, he's like 5% ownership. So he's a guy you can get leverage on. And if he finds the Cabrera Bello of old, like you've got something there. The next guy down from him, though, I do like, and that's Scott Stallings.
mm.
He can get hot when it matters. He's been pretty decent since the restart. And, I've had him in some lineups that he's really helped me like 2 and 3 weeks ago. So I do like him there. Troy Merritt's another guy I like at 7,500. He's made 4 of his last 5 cuts. He's not a household name yet, which I love because it should keep his ownership relatively low. And he's just been good. He's been good with elite competition. So I like him. He was top 10 at the Rocket Mortgage, I believe, and he was 32nd or 32nd, maybe 22nd at the workday. So he's been
Okay.
good. He's finished in top
Yeah.
25. So he's looking at like 5-6% ownership. So that, talk about ownership leverage. I mean, this is a guy that's been competing near the top, and you can get him at 5% in this field. Yeah, sign me up for that. Brandon Grace, I'm going to mention because he was a late entry to the field. There was a couple withdrawals.
Mhm,
So he might be a good guy at 7,500 to just throw in a lineup or two. The last guy I'm going to mention in the 7K range, or one of the last guys, Richie Wierenski. Speaking of secret weapon, 2 weeks ago, he was my secret weapon. And by cut day, he was in the top 10. FYI, last week, my secret weapon was Chez Reavie. Again, these are guys that are less than 5% owned, that the industry is not on, that are also in the 6K range. So my last 2 weeks were the only 2 weeks I've done this, and I've like fired on these guys, and it's
mhm.
helped out a lot of our subscribers. It's helped me out, helped a lot of our writers out. So pretty happy about that. Wierenski's just been very good lately. I'll just keep it simple on him. He's going to be about 11-12% owned, maybe a little bit higher, 13%, but he's 7,400. It's good value. He's made 4 of his last 4 cuts. He's just another one of those guys like Troy Merritt. He's not a household name yet, but he's just making cuts, and he's competing on Saturdays and Sundays. So I'll mention one other guy in the 7K range, and that is probably going to be Cameron Tringale. I do like him, and I like Chase
Mhm.
Seifert at 7,000. He's been pretty good lately as well. Tringale's just very good with his iron play, and he usually pays off. And this is a fair price for him for sure at 7,200.
Yeah, I've heard Trengal's name multiple times. You've definitely brought him up. He's done some things, hasn't done some other things. But say that other gentleman's name, Cameron Cipher.
Oh no, Chase Seifert.
That's even cooler. Chase
Yeah,
Seifert. That's so freaking cool. What a
it
name.
sounds like a video game name. It doesn't even
Yeah,
sound
right.
real.
Sounds like he's in Tron or some shit. That's pretty cool. Throwback. All right. So yeah, so I'll be honest. I usually have more questions, but I have no idea who most of these people are, and you've been doing a great job at explaining this. So I don't really think I'm needed at this point. I just want to get to the secret weapon part of the program. So let's do it, man. I don't know if you have anything else on the 7K guys. Let's talk about it. But if not, let's just rock and roll.
No, and I'll just mention a few 6K guys because listen, the reality, especially with the watered down field,
Mhm. Yeah.
you don't really want to go into this range because this is like the 6K range maybe 3 weeks ago where the talent level was high, like there were some really like legitimate
Mhm.
golfers in that
Yeah.
range. I'm not saying these guys are not legitimate, but I mean, there's not much reason since it's very easy to sort of fade the top or fade some guys at the top. I don't know that you need to go this low, but there are some quote diamonds in the rough. One of them is Chesson Hadley. I've been on him the last few weeks. It's paid off and it's not paid off, to be honest with you, but he's a great ball striker. He's one of the better ball strikers in this entire field. He just can't put his game together. And he's just another one of those guys that like, if I see good approach stats and I see that he's good off the tee and he's only 6,900, yeah, you can sign me up for that. So he's probably my favorite guy in the 6,000 range. He's looking like he's tracking towards 10% ownership, which is kind of a lot for this range, but nothing really to worry about. Again, there's plenty of places to find your ownership leverage, and 10% isn't bad anyway. A couple other guys I like Stuart Sink at 6,600. He's just been pretty good lately. Decent ball striker, not amazing off the tee or anything, but again, we're talking 6,600. Danny Lee, I kind of like at 6,700. Although he's coming off, Steven was talking to me about this. He's coming off an ankle injury, and that might be a problem, might be something to look into a little bit. But Danny Lee at 6,700 makes some sense. I'm going to save my secret weapon. I'll be honest, I'm debating between two guys on the secret weapon. So Discord's going to find out about him tomorrow. If there was another guy for me to mention in the 6K range, I kind of like Roger Sloan. These are punts. And Cameron Davis. They're both 6,500 and they're both under 5%. And neither of them qualify as my potential secret weapon play. So I'll probably stop there. That's the 6K range. Hopefully you don't have to dip into it too much, but
Yeah.
there's some diamonds there. I do like Chesson quite a bit.
Yeah, him and Sync could definitely do something, of course, and then the secret weapon. So make sure to hop into the Win Daily Sports Discord chat. It is free for 3 days, so you could at least get the secret weapon. It's also only 23 cents for the first month, where you then get the secret weapon, probably make at least one lineup that gives you more than $1 back. I mean, like, just listen to these guys. I do it, and all I do is listen to Sia and then read his article and then kind of go and say like, hey, did I do this right? And you're like, no, I didn't say to play that guy. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. You said to play this guy. I correct myself and then I win money too. So it's really not crazy, guys. It's not rocket science. That's why we have people like Sia and Patrick and Steven and Antonio and Isaiah. Our team is incredible, and that's why we're here to help. And for 23 cents, you get all the projections, you get all the articles, you get everything, man.
And I'll admit, like, this doesn't happen every week necessarily, and nor should it. It's impossible to be good every single week. And I've been good with my outrights. I've been okay. I've been pretty good in DFS. But I'll tell you, some of our other writers who, again, are on Discord and who are also publishing articles, like last week, amazing. And our subscribers too, like this last week in particular, there were some like outright takedowns. Patrick had an outright takedown, and I think the field was like in the hundreds of thousands. He had like a free roll he entered from another like a kind of competitor, right? And they were gracious enough to have a free roll, to their credit. And Patrick just waltzed in there with, I think it was a single entry for him. And he just took it outright and won $2,000 on a free roll. So, and a lot of our other Isaiah, Steven, Antonio, like a lot of subscribers were posting this thing is working. Like this train is like churning. And so please get in there because, and I'm hitting some outrights and I'm hitting those matchup bets too. And I'm doing okay in DFS too. So like a lot of this is like really like generating steam right now. So like now would be the time to get into Discord, to get to sign up, read our articles, and like figure out if it's working for you, because it's working for a lot of people right now.
It's working for a lot of people right now. And you brought up the outrights, and you've talked a little bit about some outrights and some first round leaders. Let's get to those so that's where the people can make the real money.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what's really important. I wouldn't say it's more important this week, but matchups from a bankroll standpoint are really important, whether it's 72-hole matchups or just 18-hole matchups, whether it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. That's where I make most of my money, and that's what gives me the ability to like put money on these outrights, which obviously don't hit at a super often pace. Until recently, where I was hitting them in like back-to-back weeks, but like that doesn't normally happen. And so like those are more like those outright bets and first round leader bets are more like fun bets for me, so I can have like a quote Thursday sweat or a Sunday sweat. But like the matchups are really where you're going to make your money and generate the income that you can kind of like spread out to some of these contests or these bets that aren't really necessarily as profitable. So if you have a head-to-head and you're in Discord, just tell me like what your head-to-heads are. I have friends that text me screenshots of their head because they're different on each site. They legitimately are different on each site. So I can't write an article on it if I don't know what your head-to-head is. So please jump into Discord and just tell me what your head-to-heads are, or private message me or whatever it is, and I'll try to help you out because that really is a moneymaker for me. But I'll tell you what. Okay, so let's do 3 outrights, and I'll give you. Let's see. It looks like I have 5 first round leaders.
Yeah.
With my outrights, I don't pick anything that's shorter than 30 to
Hmm.
1. I just
Yep.
don't do that. I'll wait till Friday for some of those guys to fall to lower odds if they have a bad day, and then I'll hammer them then, like a DJ or a Kupka or a Finau or somebody like that. So I'm starting at 30 to 1 or higher. Harris English at 33 to 1 seems like pretty good value in this field. Keep in mind, he was really good on Sunday on a day where everybody was pretty much terrible and the wind was howling and the greens were super fast and the pin locations were in impossible places. I think he shot even par, which is like a miraculous. That's
Hmm.
like the equivalent of shooting like a -6 on a day like that. I mean,
Good day.
I think the average was +4 on that day, so he was killing it. So he's a good ball striker, but like I think he's going to jump on this course and be like, man, this is easy compared to Sunday where I was also kind of killing it. So
Hmm.
I like him. Henley at 40 to 1. I might be a little bullish on Henley, like, to have him in so many lineups in DFS, but I do think he's just kind of a hidden gem right now. And I think he's kind of one of those up and coming names. He's perfect for this course. And I'll go Richie Werenski at 80 to 1. I just think I've seen him compete. I've seen him like be among the top 10 on Sundays. Again, watered down field. I'm trying to get a guy when he's peaking, not when he's already peaked. And
Hmm.
I feel like Richie Werenski at 80 to 1 might actually be a decent play. Listen, it's 80 to 1. I'm not
Yeah.
calling my shot saying he's going to win necessarily,
Well,
but well, I am, but I'm
you know,
not.
I was gonna say
I,
you're an 80 to 1 kind of guy. I'm just
it's
saying.
true. I'm an 80 and a 50 to 1 kind of guy. But like, listen, if you were going to pick an 80 to 1 shot, this guy has the moxie to
Hmm.
actually maybe pull it off for you. And then the final thing on golf, and then we'll move on to the NFL news, which I'm really excited about, is first round leader. I'll just give you a handful of them. Sam Burns, again, that's the guy who can get to, get you your eagle opportunities.
Hmm.
50 to 1. Doc Redman 60 to 1. Charlie Hoffman, I think, is interesting. His game is sort of fine, is has found its way. And I remember years ago him like dominating first rounds and then just sort of tailing off. So him and Jonathan Vegas fit that mold, and they both happen to be in the 60 to 65 to 1 range. So Burns, Doc Redman, Charlie Hoffman, Jonathan Vegas, and my last guy at 80 to 1 is Scott Stallings, who typically, if he's going to have a good round, it's going to be early and it's going to be in that first round. And then he also will sort of tail off like some of these other guys do. So these are kind of like first round guys, not necessarily overall tournament guys.
I love it. I love it. There you go, everybody. We just got all our DFS information out there, which more is still to come. One thing that we always preach here is tomorrow night around, I'd call it around twilight, 6 o'clock. The sun would starting to, creep over the trees a little bit. I'm trying to paint a picture. I hope this is fun for you, Sia. And and then that's when I get this email, this glorious, beautiful email from our writer Stephen Pilardi, Sicily Kid, as we like to call him. And this gentleman has all of the information that you'll ever need on ownership data. It is insane. It's funny because I've seen other people be like, "What do you mean that you don't know the ownership percentage of the Millie Maker? Or you don't know?" And he's just like, "I promise, I get pretty damn close every time." And I actually think it was Nick. It was Six Picks. He was like, "Yeah, well, like on this website it's this, and on this website it's this." And he's like, "I pay a lot of money to make sure this thing is right." And I think he was like almost 100%. It's like ridiculous. So the ownership percentages that guy gets is amazing. So on Wednesday, make sure to get his article, then hop into Discord, then we could talk it out. That way, we can really know how do we get a little contrarian? Where do we make these GPP plays? Who are we doing for cash games? And of course, C is always there for betting. So it's incredible.